Negative thinking is a major problem because you've got to get control of this. You actually can control what this does. No one else is in charge. If the devil is in charge, it's because you gave him permission. You allowed him in. If God is operating up there, it's because you gave him permission. You allowed him in. It's a very, listen to me, it's not a magic trick, man. If you want to be successful, you have to get control of this. Like I was telling her earlier, look, you can eradicate negative thinking from your life. Now, it's not going to say you're not going to ever have a negative thought. That's not human. I have them, but I don't have them nowhere near as frequent as I used to because I learned what they are, how they work. I get rid of them. I don't have time for you. I'm on a positive track. I got things I'm trying to accomplish. I'm trying to be successful and I'm trying to be happy. If you're trying to be successful or happy, you have no room for negativity. The best way to mask yourself from negativity every morning is to start with gratitude. I'm telling you, man, it's a very simple process. Now, there are some books that you can buy. There's Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking. It's a very old book. It's only in paperback. It's called The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. I read this book when I was 20. It started the process to change in my life. Then I read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. It's by David Schultz. This just trains you how to think big. You know, it doesn't take any more brain power to think big than it does small. Big thinking gets rid of negativity. Dreams and visions gets rid of negativity. But you got to remember, man, that you operate. When you pray, God ain't the only one here to pray. The devil is listening to you. So his job is to dissuade you. His job is to keep you off track. Devil ain't got but one job. He don't want you to be successful. He don't want you to discover your dreams. He don't want you talking to God. So he get busy. He get busy. He busy, man. He send people your way all the time. He all over the internet. He all over social media. The devil got imps. He got people work for him all the time. All they do is just do what he say. Say something funky about her. Yeah. But you can control this part. Now, what you cannot do is bury yourself by using your success compared to other people. See, because here's the danger. Let me teach you this. Success is not how far you got. Because see, you're going to be disappointed all the time. Because somebody always further than you. So now you'll forever be disappointed. Success ain't how far you got. Success is how far you got from where you started. That's your success. That's yours. You can be successful, but if you constantly looking at somebody else, if I look at Oprah money, I start feeling bad about me. Because I ain't got Oprah money, man. Oprah got $1 billion. I don't have nowhere near no $1 billion. But you mean to tell me that I ain't smart enough to go?
That daily you have to prime yourself. You have to do something for 10 minutes minimum. If you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. And
ooh, that's so good.
I mean, I just like, you gotta do it, right?
That's good. If you don't have 10 minutes,
you don't have a life
to give to priming yourself.
That's right.
You
And if you want a prime life, you want a beautiful life, a beautiful family.
Oh, I love that you
but
say
I do this first time I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
People always ask me, how are you so up all the time? But part of it is I attend all these seminars.
Yes.
I teach all this. But the real reason is
you prime yourself.
I prime myself. That's what I've done for years. It's like I changed my body, this radical breathing pattern or movement. There's many ways to do it. But then I do 10 minutes, and it usually goes more because I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes is how I get myself to do it. 3.5 minutes of pure gratitude about 3 things. And I pick one of those 3 to be simple, because I don't want to be the astronaut that, he went to the moon, that was his idea of adventure, and then they all come back and were depressed because what do I do for the rest of my life?
Yes.
So the wind in my face, my children's faces, anything. And the reason for gratitude is the 2 emotions that mess us up the most are fear and anger.
Yeah.
And you can't be grateful and fearful simultaneously. They don't go together. And you can't be angry and grateful simultaneously. So if you literally start your day cultivating that, this is the part I was talking about, creating a highway to happiness.
Yeah.
And then I do 3 minutes of my 3 to thrive. What are 3 outcomes or results I'm really committed to? And I see them as done and fulfilled. And in 10 minutes.
For that day?
I usually look at something at 6 months to 12 months out. Wow. Something that's a little bigger. And then what I feel is fulfilled and done, and I get thanks for it. And at the end of those 10 minutes, and usually it's 15 or 18 for me, I am so wired. Now, I've done that for years. It's been the basic. What's different with suffering is measuring it moment to moment over. And then the third one for me is okay, how do I love more? Love to me is an action. It's not a word, it's not an emotion. It's like, if you love, you act accordingly. So love, and what can I do in a loving way, and then what can I be grateful for? And that little 3-step process ends the suffering.
70% of the time, people live in stress, and living in stress is living in survival. Now, all organisms in nature can tolerate short-term stress. You know, a deer gets chased by a pack of coyotes. When it outruns the coyotes, it goes back to grazing and the event is over. And the definition of stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance, out of homeostasis. The stress response is what the body innately does to return itself back to order. So you're driving down the road, someone cuts you off, you jam on the brakes, you give them the finger, and then you settle back down and the event is over and boom, now everything's back to normal. But what if it's not a predator that's waiting for you outside the cave, but what if it's your coworker sitting right next to you? And all day long, you're turning on those chemicals because they're pushing all your emotional buttons. When you turn on a stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease because no organism in nature can live in emergency mode for that extended period of time. It's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease, long-term effects. Human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible then our thoughts could make us well? The answer is absolutely yes.
All of you have targets, things that you're after. If you're going to get a new result, if you're going to grow your business, if you're going to be able to support your mom, if you're going to get rid of the anxiety, if you're going to be able to overachieve and not have all that fear inside of you, you obviously need to get a new result. You're going to have to get new action. We all know that. You don't get new results with old action. What human beings can do is amazing. What they will do is usually disappointing. It's not because we're not capable of it. It's because we don't have new actions because we get in certain emotional states that dominate us, like anxiety, like fear of failure. So if you're in a state of fear, you're going to behave very differently and get very different results than if you were in a place of being courageous or bold or warm or connected or playful, any of those. So the most important key to changing your life in any situation is to change results, you got to change behavior. But to change behavior, you got to change the emotional state you're in.
The fact is this. You are playing the program 95% of the day, meaning your life is a printout of your program. Anything you're struggling to try to accomplish, whether it's health or love, relationships, whatever it is, if you're struggling, it represents a simple fact. Your subconscious programming doesn't support that conclusion. So the fact is, what are my programs? Look at your struggle. And wherever you're struggling, the struggle is not because the universe won't provide for you. The struggle is an internal job. The struggle is you're trying to overcome previous programming that prevents you to go to that destination. So the wonderful part about this understanding is you don't have to review your life. You can look right now. At this one moment, just look in your head and say, what are the things that I keep trying to get? And they seem to be elusive. I can't get them. They're always out of reach. I say, the universe is not holding back. It's your own invisible subconscious behavior. And once you understand where the issues are, and you start to really focus on the point that it's not the universe that's providing the trouble, it's myself, you have the first inclination, the first idea, the first understanding of how to change your life, because now you know exactly what issue is confronting you. You can change the programming. You can rewrite your subconscious programs. If you took the wishes and desires of the conscious mind and use that as a program to put the beliefs into the subconscious mind, it's the most exciting and liberating thing you can ever do in your life. You know why? Because once it's in the subconscious program, 95% of the day, without you even thinking about it, your mind will take you to that direction. And that is your freedom.
I define concentration as the ability to keep that awareness on one thing for a prolonged period of time. So if I can keep my awareness on Eric and not drift away and think about the wedding, or drift away and think about the vacation, or what I'm going to do later, then I'm concentrating on Eric. Every time it drifts away, I bring it back. And the more I practice this, the more I practice concentration. So concentration is the ability to keep your awareness on one thing for a prolonged period of time. And that's a very simple definition of concentration. How do you get better at concentration? You practice this. You practice this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's the only way to get good at it. And what's the best way to practice it? The best way to practice it is to integrate it into everything that you do in your life. Not to meditate 10 minutes in the morning. It doesn't work. You really need to look at your life the same way a sprinter in the Olympics looks at his life. We've all heard of Usain Bolt, the man that won the gold medal twice, 2 Olympics in a row, broke the world record. I don't know anything about him, to be honest. But if I was looked at him, I would assume he goes to the gym. Right? If you look at him, he's pretty ripped. He obviously sprints, he practices running, probably does a lot of long distance, he probably does a lot of stretching as well, I'm sure he gets massages. He looks like he eats the right kind of food. Drinks the right amount of water, takes vitamins. His whole day is so disciplined. For what? To prepare him for 9.57 seconds. I think that's what the world record is, right? 400 meters, 9.5 or 9.57 seconds. His whole day is preparing him for that short time, not the other way around. A lot of people say, you know what, I need to be more concentrated. So you know what, I'm going to meditate in the morning. I'll sit down for 2 minutes. Okay, now I'm Zen master. And the remaining 23 hours and 58 minutes, they just go about being ordinary and crazy. How does that work? How would you change? It's not balanced at all. So if for 23 hours and 58 minutes you are not being concentrated, you allowed your awareness to jump from one thing in your mind to another thing, to another thing, to another thing, to another thing, in an uncontrolled way, what would you be good at? The best way to do it is pick a few opportunities in your everyday life. For example, we all speak with people. When I speak with somebody, I give them my undivided attention. I keep my awareness on them, and the conversation is really brief. Why? Because we're concentrated. We're not being distracted. A 10-minute conversation normally just takes 3 minutes because you're just so focused. And out of a prolonged concentration comes the wonderful power of observation. You just become more observant, and when you become more observant, you see solutions quicker and you solve things quicker. And it's a wonderful, powerful feeling when somebody is concentrated on you and not being distracted.
The only way to break a habit, you guys, is not to deal with the triggers. You're never going to get rid of the stress in your life, but you can 100% change your pattern of avoiding work.
It's this fear of discomfort. People have this extreme feeling in their mind when it comes to their associations with exercise.
That's one of my first feeling, that I could hit the ball from any part of the court and feel like I could do it with closed eyes and make it and know exactly where it's going.
It made an impression on me. And since then, for the past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?
If you try and change yourself according to thinking that, oh, I'm going to a different country, or, you know, I need to please, or I need to not be alien enough, or you're overthinking it.
So that's that one voice. This other voice that we walk very far away from is the voice saying, hey man, you ain't doing shit. So what you have to do first is turn up this voice over here. The voice saying things to you that aren't nice.
Your body is like a race car that you can juice up yourself. Like, you can add the fat tires, you can add the improved suspension, you can beef up the horsepower in the engine. You can do all that yourself.
You have to be open to understand and accept the fact that you won't know everything.
Right.
And people won't know everything about you. So it's an education. I'm enjoying so much. You have to accept your uniqueness. Yeah, I want to do things that people are like, oh, she's doing that now. I look for things like that, whether it's acting, producing, I don't know what it'll be.
Sure.
I don't know.
If you want to be an anomaly, you have to act like one. Like, people want all these special things to happen, but then they're acting like everybody else.
Victory. I wanted to win. Not like beat somebody else. It wasn't about that. I just wanted to go the distance. Everything in my life, when something got hard, I quit.
It's this whole new perspective on it. And I think nature, the ease of suffering is always in presence. You know, when you're in presentness, truly locked in presentness, there is no suffering. There can be pain, but no suffering. Suffering is something created by our own mind.
We all think our stuff is the best, and like, I get that. But yeah, that would be my advice, only because that also is liberating. To me, everything's about breathing, right? Like, to me, everything is about, like, take full ownership for everything, and then everything gets easy, because then you're in control.
The more I did this, the more I gained confidence. And then the more I gained confidence, the more I realized I was just sacrificing. And then through that, all these different tools started coming up. But I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place.
You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how can you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, I got a trick that I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, I'm so dumb, and I'd say, you're so brilliant. She'd say, I'm so weak, and I'd say, you're so resilient. And when she said, I feel ugly, and I said, you look beautiful, she asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug. And she said, treat yourself like someone you loved. Treat yourself like someone you loved. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for. And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me was the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough. And I am not any more special or unique than you. That is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you can see that with life, you can be a lover, not a fighter. And that life, you deserve it. Because you are worth it. And there is no point in letting yourself keep forgetting, because no matter what you say or do, you are perfect. And so today, I hope I leave you with a direction correction away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me, they are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your perfection. So start today. Take a good, long look in the mirror and say, I am who I've been looking for.
How much do you love yourself? Because if you understand the value of self-love, you'll never be friends with those type of people. Most of the people out here are running around empty. They have no sense of self, no sense of self-love. When I say self-love, it has nothing to do with celebrity, money, materialistic things, and all of the things that your negative mind could probably go to. It has nothing to do with self-love. It has nothing to do with looks, nothing to do with cars and any of the superficial things that one would assume that could make you love yourself even more. It's a matter of knowing your value. It's a matter of you saying, I don't have to be around these people in these type of environments and situations in order for me to finally see the value in myself. I love me independent of you loving me. I believe in me. I know my self-worth. I am here and I have a purpose. There is no value in having wisdom, knowledge, insight, spirituality, love. Every day, I am a work in progress.
A person who can forgive nothing is a person who's totally destroyed psychologically and emotionally. Forgive your parents. Forgive any relationship that you ever had that didn't work out. Forgive everyone else in your life that has ever hurt you in any way. Forgive yourself.
Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different.
I think for myself, and I know many of you, you think forgiving means accepting what has happened to you. Well, it is accepting that it has happened to you. Not accepting that it was okay for it to happen. It is accepting that it has happened, and now what do I do about it? Forgiving is giving up the hope, not holding on, hoping, wishing that it could have been any other way than it actually was. Giving up the hope that the past could be any different. And when I got that, I think it took me to the next level of being a better person, because I don't hold grudges for anything or any situation, and neither should you. It's letting go so that the past does not hold you prisoner, does not hold you hostage.
See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go and move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do now, Les? But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will. So as you're in the process of reinventing your life, write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change, because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you. What are your assets? What are your strong points? Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Other thing is that in order to get out of a rut, we need some coaching. Find some trusted critics. People that you know care about you and love you. So there's some things that keeps us from growing and getting out of ruts. Number one, we identify with feedback. We take it personal when someone wants to give us some feedback on where we are falling short and tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. It hurts. I have a friend who's a trusted critic. I don't like him, but I love him. He doesn't tell me the things I want to hear. He tells me what I need to hear so I can grow. It hurts. It hurts when he put me on the hot seat. I can't stand it. But that's the only way that I can grow. And I'm glad that he loves me enough to risk our friendship to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear.
Stop scaring yourself. How often do you terrorize yourself with your own thoughts? You get into absolute terror, and it's only coming from your thoughts. Nobody out there is doing a thing. Sometimes it's an old family pattern. Sometimes we get new things. I would like people, when you have time, to make a list of your fears. Make a list of your fears. And then give yourself the opportunity to turn each fear into a positive affirmation. Turn each one into something positive. And remember, always you are in charge. You are always in charge. See, one idle thought doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Thoughts are like drops of water. You drop a drop of water and it doesn't mean much. But if you keep dropping and keep dropping, you get a puddle on the floor, and then you can get a little pond and a lake, and finally you can create an ocean. And with our own thoughts, we can drown in a sea of negativity, or we can float on the ocean of life. And it's up to us. The thoughts we think accumulate. And what sort of puddles are you standing in? Or are you up to here? Or are you up to here and trying to paddle? You know, what are you doing to yourself? When we're willing to change our thinking, we can change our experiences. And it doesn't matter if you've got a big puddle of negative thoughts. You know, you can move over here and create a puddle of mindfulness, positive thoughts. You can make changes, always. So you want to turn those fear thoughts into positive affirmations. Let them work for you.
The one way to coach your mind from depression is with gratitude. Every time I feel myself not starting to feel some kind of way, just take a paper and pencil out. Just start writing down everything you have to be grateful for. Whatever it is. Your health, you can walk, you can still see, you have a car, may not be the one you want. I have a place to live. I ate today. I see a way that I can eat tomorrow. I got a friend that I can call and share my troubles with. And just be real detailed with it. You would be stunned how long you'll be writing. Now, let me tell you what happens. Once gratitude erases all negativity, because there's no room now for negativity. It's not a magic trick. Joy and depression cannot reside in the same space. Those two things cannot exist at the same time. Also, what it does, it changes your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. Gratitude changes your perception. Your perception changes your existence. That's all you're trying to do. That's all you're trying to do. After you've done that, here's what I want you to do. Write a list, after you make this list of everything you're grateful for, I want you to read this list every morning you wake up of everything you're grateful for. After you've thanked him for all this stuff, I want you to take another piece of paper out. I want you to write on this piece of paper everything you want. Everything you want. Now what he gonna do is he gonna tie them two lists together. So now since you showing me all this gratitude for what I've already done for you, remember I said the more grateful you are, the more stuff he'll give you to be grateful for? He gonna take this other list you got and he gonna start putting it on this side. Then he gonna take some more stuff and gonna put on this side. He'll take some more stuff and put on this side. I'm telling you. Let me tell y'all something. If y'all don't think that works, I wish you would try it. Listen to me. I have no other explanation for my life. I do it every single day. And you know what he does? Slowly but surely, he takes this list and he starts taking items and putting it on the grateful list. He has done it for me like that for years and years and years. He did it for me without education. He did it for me when I lost my mom and daddy, my brother, my best friend. He did it for me when they canceled my TV shows. He keeps taking stuff off my want list and putting it on my grateful for list. If you do them things right there, you'll change your whole life.
You concentrate on what you have, you will always end up having more, even if it's just $2. If you focus on what you don't have, you will never, ever, ever have enough. So 16 years ago, I started a gratitude journal, and I will have to say, it was the single most important thing I believe I've ever done. So every day, for years now, I've written down 5 things to be grateful for. And you have to write them down. It's very different than just saying, oh, I'm grateful for today. You have to physically write them down because there's power in the words. Even simple things like fresh flowers or somebody holding the door open for me. So when you wake up in the morning and you consciously look for things to be thankful for, what happens is if you go through the day thinking about the 5 things that you're going to do in the evening, you are more alive and receptive to the goodness that comes in your life. Because sometimes it is as simple as somebody holding the door. So when you allow yourself to feel gratitude in the present moment, in the now, what I promise you is that the spiritual dimension of your life begins to change. It opens up, it expands, and you just grow with it. That is the truth. If I ever spoke the truth in my life, if you want to change your state of being, start to be grateful.
The more you're grateful for, the more God will give you to be grateful for. Instead of complaining about what's going on, man, I got to go to work today. Man, I got these kids. Remember when you wanted a job? Remember when you wanted a baby? You know what I learned? You can't cry about what's on your plate when your whole goal was to eat. The moment you start showing God more gratitude, he'll give you more stuff. What he do is, he's not gonna keep giving you stuff if what you got you can't handle already. You kill more blessings by not being grateful. That's the #1 blessing blocker, lack of gratitude.
I had a really good friend of mine, I went to lunch and he said, I don't know who this guy is here. And he goes, let me ask you a question. Right now, what are you grateful for? And at the lunch I said, nothing, brother. There's nothing good in my life right now. As I'm mouthing these words, 2 people walked in with an older man. Both of them clearly were fighting cancer somehow. Both walked by our table and gave me the warmest smile as a stranger. And he goes, that's pretty freaking pathetic. You can't find anything in your life to be grateful for right now? Because if you can find things to be grateful for in that space, man, is your life going to be rich when there really are external things to be grateful for. And what happens is, there's this reticular activating system in our brains. All of a sudden, all these things start to come into my awareness that I'm grateful for. I started to see things to be grateful for.
Choose to be happy in spite of life's challenges. Life changes every day. Sometimes things will be going your way. Sometimes it won't work so well. Sometimes you'll have your health, you're feeling good, and there's some things that can happen to you in life that can take all of that from you. Life always changes. But you can choose in the midst of all of this that's going on to be happy in spite of it. Viktor Frankl, he said the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Douglas Matlock has a poem I love. He said, sure, this world is full of trouble. Lord, I've had enough and double reason for complaint. Rain and storm have come to fret me. Skies are often gray. But say, ain't it fine today? What's the use of always keeping thinking of the past? Each must have his tribulation, water with his wine. Trouble? I've had mine, but today is fine. It may rain again tomorrow. It may rain, but say, ain't it fine today? Ain't it fine today? Living in the moment, getting everything we can out of where we are in the moment where we are right now. The other thing is willingness to let people and things go, especially if they want to go. When they're no longer good for you, just let them go. Just to hold on tenaciously really doesn't make really good sense, all right? Next thing is face the truth about life and deal with it. In order to have a fulfilling life, knowing that things are going to happen, expect the unexpected. Everything that happens, use it for your upliftment. What can I get from this? How did I end up here? What's the blessing in this for me? And don't let it go until you get your blessing out of it, because there's a blessing there. There's something for you in everything that happens to you for you to learn from that experience. Analyze it, dissect it, take it apart, and then get what you need from that and move on. Here's something I encourage you to do. Whatever you do, do it in a consciousness of love, in spite of the circumstances. Emmett Fox said, love is absolutely invincible. No disease that enough love will not heal. No door that enough love will not open. No wall that enough love will not throw down. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how great the mistake, a sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. And he ends it in a scripture that says, God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God. Whatever work you have to do it lovingly. Just decide to be more loving, more giving, more caring, more sensitive than you've ever been before. But what if you don't get it back? But don't count on it. Don't let someone else determine who you're going to be. Do it because that's who you are. Do it because it gives your life a sense of fulfillment and self-respect. Anybody can hate. Anybody can do that. Anybody can hold a grudge. But the real challenge about growth and moving into your greatness is about being who you are. I say, as you look at life, as you go toward your goals and your dreams, spring forth with a mighty faith to start the business that ought to be started by you, to make the difference in our society that ought to be made by you. How is it that I can make the contribution that I showed up to give? And one last step, I think, in the area of self-fulfillment, you must live in a spirit of gratitude. There's so many things, ladies and gentlemen, that we take for granted. There are a lot of things that we need to be thankful for. There are big things, there are little things. I'm thankful for my children. I'm thankful for the life that I live and for the people who have enriched my life.
You can't wait till you receive the promise. You have to thank God that the answer is on the way. Don't talk about how you feel. Say, thank you that I'm healthy. Thank you with long life you're satisfying me. In your finances, maybe you're struggling. All through the day, thank you that whatever I touch prospers and succeeds. Thank you that your favor surrounds me like a shield. When you thank God in advance for the answer, That's what keeps you encouraged. You're not going to stay determined if you're talking about how bad it is. God, you said you wanted me to be blessed, but my business is so slow. No, switch over into praise. Business may be slow, but Lord, I want to thank you that you prosper me even in a desert. Praise makes you strong. Praise keeps you moving forward. I'll thank God after business picks up, after I see the solution. So if you don't learn this principle to thank God in advance, you won't have the strength you need to wait for the promise.
If you think that people can win just by avoiding failure, then you need to think again. Actually, the real winners are those who learn how to respond to failure with positivity. You need to get to the root of what is holding you back and cultivate an overall positive mindset. We wonder why we don't have the strength and why we are not going ahead. It is just because our thoughts are limiting us. Your life is going to be based on your thoughts. Therefore, you need to be careful of what you think. Positive thinking gives you the power to control the situation and circumstances, and negative thinking gives the power to the circumstance to control you. Your thoughts play a part in your values and beliefs, which influence the quality of your personal relationship and how you see the world. If you have a glass half empty mentality, then you will keep pointing out the drawbacks of achieving goals, and in the end, you will remain stuck in the same situation. Positive thinking creates certainty in an uncertain situation. Imagine if things are not going in your favor and you think that you are in hell. Let me ask you a question. Why would you stay in hell? You need to get out of it as soon as possible, because your destination is not hell. It is heaven. Positive thinking allows you to become such kind of person whose focus is on a solution, not the problem. Remember, your thinking is very important. Whatever you think, you become. The strongest power of positive thinking is that it lets you to do everything better than negative thinking. If you understand the power of your thoughts, then you would never ever think a negative thought, because negative thinking not only ruins your career, but it also ruins your life. When you become a negative thinker, it even becomes hard for you to reach your destination by going through straight roads. On the other hand, if you are a positive thinker, you will find a way even through mountains, and ultimately, you will reach your destination. That's the power of positive thinking. It is easy to go through life, holding on to the things that are weighing us down, like guilt, resentment, doubts, stress, and depression. But the problem is, when we allow these things in, they take over the space for the good things that should be there. Imagine that your mind is like a container, and it is created to be filled with joy, happiness, and success. But if you allow worry that pushes out the peace, imagine how your life would be. One thing you need to keep in mind is that there is no space for both. Your thoughts become your words, and ultimately, it becomes your reality. Wherever you are standing today, it is just because of your thoughts and what you have said about yourself. Words are like a seed, so you are giving life to what you are saying. If you continue to say it, then it will eventually become a reality. Whether you realize it or not, you are predicting your future. Your life will continue to move on the routes of your thoughts. If you are building up a positive mindset, it means that you are giving powers to yourself. Those people who always think that they will never get out of debt will never get a good shape, and they are unable to achieve their goals. They have been stuck in the same situation because they are not even trying. They don't realize that they have the ability. They can achieve anything if they want. Let me give you an example. The eagle flies so high without any fear of falling, and no storm or rain or anything else can become a hurdle in their way. It is just because eagles believe in their strong wings. In the same way, if you believe in yourself, trust me, nothing can let you down. If you really want to be happy in your life, then keep your heart free of hate, keep your mind free from worry, and always think the brighter side of anything you are going to achieve. Whenever you start thinking positively, you are halfway there. Do you always blame others for your failure? Or you have the audacity to take responsibility and find the solution to every problem? You need to build up a mindset that even though the problems are big, you are strong enough to overcome those issues, and you will soon get of you all these problems. Your positive thinking will change your whole day, and you will start believing that you can achieve your goal. If you build a positive mindset, then it will change your whole life.